So being a Christian and coming to church is not a new thing to me. I was brought up in a Christian family. My parents were members of the church. My late granddad and both my uncles were pastors. And so church was part of everyday life. We attended regularly and I went to Sunday school. And when I was about 6 or 7, I remember standing on the platform at church and giving my life to Jesus. But as I grew up, life happened, and as a result, my going to church became very sporadic and eventually non-existent, really. I'd never forgotten my core beliefs and how I was brought up, and I was in no way shy to shoot up an emergency prayer when I was in trouble. But other than that, I followed my own path and just did my own thing and lived my life how I thought I wanted to live it. And then fast forward quite a few years, and about 8 months ago, I was suffering from quite debilitating anxiety. I've always been a bit of a worrier, and in some circles known as worst case Katie, because that's just how I was, really. But this was really quite something, and I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I ended up being diagnosed with burnout. And also during that time, I received the news that my granddad, who I was really close to, had passed away. And I just felt, my world just collapsed, really. I felt heavy and disappointed and overwhelmed, really, by life. And I was drowning. I just felt like I was drowning. But I was trying so hard to power through and carry on, because that's what I thought I should do, really, and that's what I'd always done. But one afternoon, I just couldn't carry on anymore, and I was just sat in my room just sobbing, and I just said, God, I am so sorry, but I really need you to help me. And then a few days later, I was talking to Mum on the phone, and she said, look, why don't you come to church with me? And I knew I had to go. I didn't even have to think about it. It was okay, I'm coming. And I'm so pleased that I did, because from that Sunday on and subsequent Sundays, as soon as I came in, people had prayers and words of encouragement and Bible verses. And it was like I knew God had given them to those people, because it was like they were in my situation and they were meant for me. And I remember Mark speaking, and I couldn't sit still. I was almost on the floor because I felt so convicted that what he was saying was for me, and I had to go up and I had to go and get prayer. And then it was then that I fully recommitted my life to Jesus. I asked him for his forgiveness and reaffirmed that commitment that I'd made as a young child. And I'm just going to share with you just a couple of Bible verses that were given to me. The first one is Psalm 61, verse 1-4. Hear my cry, O God, listen to my prayer. From the end of the earth I call to you when my heart is faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I, for you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the enemy. Let me dwell in your tent forever, and let me take refuge under the shelter of your wings. And the next one is Psalm 23, verses 3 and 4 specifically. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, and your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And those two verses I would read over and over, and they were of a real comfort to me at that time. And within a few weeks of sort of getting back into church, I was sleeping better, the anxiety calmed, and I just felt a real peace. And that enabled me to, I prayed more, read my Bible, and just began developing my relationship with Jesus. And life now feels so much more doable. Anxiety still rears its head from time to time, and I am 100% a work in progress. But I have a new hope and a new outlook on life. And another Bible verse from 1 Peter 5, verse 7, cast your anxiety on him because he cares for you. And that is really my backbone. That's what I keep going over and over again. And I know that by having Jesus in my life, I don't have to deal with anything by myself anymore. Thank you.